The goddess's biggest mistake wasn't rejecting Makoto. It was believing he would disappear. The instant she discards him, humiliates him, and casts him far from a human world, she acts with the absolute certainty that she is erasing an irrelevant problem. To the goddess, Makoto was too ugly, too unworthy, too small to matter. And that's exactly where the mistake that changes everything is born. Because in TSUKIMICHI, what is ignored doesn't disappear. It grows in silence. By denying blessings, guidance, and even the ability to communicate with humans, the goddess believed she was weakening Makoto. Canonically, this curse completely isolates him from human society and prevents him from following the traditional path of heroes. But without realizing it, she pushes him out of her own influence. Makoto begins to evolve without depending on divine approval, without following the aesthetic and moral rules imposed by her. While chosen heroes receive power conditioned by the goddess's will, Makoto grows through his own effort, adaptation, and survival. He learns about the world in the cruelest way possible, by living in it. The mistake deepens when Makoto begins to interact with those whom the goddess also despises. Demi-humans, monsters, and marginalized races don't see Makoto as a mistake. They see someone who understands abandonment, someone who wasn't chosen but remained. From that point on, Makoto ceases to be just an isolated survivor and becomes a point of convergence. He creates bonds, establishes rules, and builds his own structure, completely outside of divine control. And this happens without direct confrontation, without open challenge, without declared war. The goddess doesn't notice because she's too busy protecting the beautiful world she idealized. Meanwhile, Makoto develops power on a scale that shouldn't be possible without divine blessings. His growth doesn't follow the expected script. He doesn't seek human recognition, doesn't ask for forgiveness, doesn't beg for acceptance. He simply builds. And each silent advance weakens the goddess's authority, because it proves that the world can function outside of her logic. The mistake wasn't rejecting Makoto. It was letting him be free. Free to create something that doesn't depend on divine aesthetics, favoritism, or imposed hierarchy. The cruelest part is that, when the goddess begins to notice the distortion Makoto represents, the process is already too advanced. He is no longer someone who can simply be discarded or corrected. He has become a structural factor in the world's balance. Humans fear him, races follow him, and greater forces begin to observe him. All of this stems from that first superficial judgment, that decision made out of vanity. A small mistake in the eyes of a goddess with gigantic consequences for the entire world. TSUKIMICHI makes it clear that the greatest danger lies not in direct hatred, but in the arrogance of those who believe they control everything. The goddess never saw Makoto as a threat because she never bothered to see him as a person. And now, what she ignored grows beyond her reach. If this idea captivates you, if the silent power reversal draws your attention, perhaps it's worth carefully following each step of the story. Sometimes, the biggest mistakes aren't made in epic battles, but in decisions taken with disdain and ignored until it's too late.